Hello and welcome. This is my 1999 Specialized Hardrock rigid mountain bike. I bought it for the whopping price of $65 back in February of 2021. I almost immediately set about to stripping it down. I upgraded the cockpit, put new tires on, some vintage Ritchey rims that I had kicking around, and I upgraded the drivetrain from a 3x7 with an 11 to 28, I believe it was, cassette, to a 1x with a 7-speed in the back. But I took an 8-speed cassette and removed the smallest cog, which is the highest gear, and I ended up with a 14 to 32 tooth, which made climbing a bit easier. But as it turns out, I can't leave anything alone when it comes to my bikes. I'm always tinkering. So I took an old 9-speed setup that I had kicking around and I installed it on the bike. But to do that, I had to first replace the hub. So follow along as I go through the process of both replacing the 7-speed hub with an 8 to 10-speed hub, and then upgrading to the 9-speed drivetrain. And now, a quick lesson on Shimano free hubs. The first popularly available Shimano free hub was the Uniglide. This featured several equally sized keyway ridges along the outside of the hub body. To secure the cassette, the final gear, the smallest cog, screwed onto the threaded portion on the end of the hub body. Fairly simple, and as opposed to free wheels, this allowed easy changing of gear ratios. Then along came the Hyperglide. The Hyperglide, as seen on the right here with the new hub body, has one narrow keyway ridge, and a lock ring is threaded into the interior surface of the hub body, locking the cassette in place. Now, the one that I just took off these Ritchey rims has provisions for both. So that puts this around 1980 or so, as I understand it. So to recap, I was able to continue to use these really nice vintage Ritchey rims on the bike by swapping out the original 7-speed free hub for a modern 8 to 10-speed free hub. It might take an 11-speed, but I think that depends upon the cassette itself. There's not really a lot left else to do on this bike now that I think of it. I've got the 9-speed setup on the rear. I've got the 1x up front. And I've got this really nice reissued Selle Italia Turbo saddle, which I know is not technically late 90s, but it looks good and it's comfy. And up front, I swapped out the handlebar for a wider unit from an old Diamondback that I had. They're not 780s, but they're still wider than the 590s that came with the bike. Obviously, I've got new brake levers to accommodate the 1x setup, as well as the Shimano trigger shifter. And I've got these Uri clamp-on grips. My local bike shop had run out of the ESI silicone grips that I like so much, and they suggested I try these, and oh my gosh, I love them. They're great. So really, about the only thing left to do to this bike, and I am giving serious thought to it, is to pick up a 26-inch, possibly new, possibly used, suspension fork, and turn the Hardrock into a hardtail. Ooh. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It does help the channel. Below left is a link to a playlist for this bike, and below right is a link to another video that I'm pretty sure you will enjoy. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that so much. Goodbye and have a great day.